What's up guys, Scott Martin here, talking all about fishing tips today. You know, I think about one of the most simple lures in my tackle box. Probably the lure that I caught my very first bass on. What am I talking about? Plastic worms. You know, as I've traveled around the country, fished on the tour, take a lot of guide trips out here in Lake Okeechobee, there's one thing that I've noticed, that people fish plastic worms a little bit different all the time. But I've learned over the years that there's one style, one way that I like to fish them that I get more bites. You know, the old adage is you can never fish a worm too slow, but you can definitely fish one too fast holds very true with this technique. You know, let's think about this for a second, guys. What does a plastic worm represent? It's not representing a shad, it's not representing a bluegill. It's representing some type of worm or leech or a crawdad in some cases, things that crawl on the bottom. So with a plastic worm, I want to fish it on the bottom. I don't want to swim it through the water column like I see some people do. You can catch a fish on lots of different, techniques or lots of different ways, but you're going to catch more fish by fishing it the right way. It's kind of like in golf. Having the right grip is very important. You know, a plastic worm, you need it to crawl on the bottom. And here's what I like to do. I like to make a long cast with a plastic worm or cast it to wherever my target is. And basically move the bait. Here's what it is. Here's the tip, guys. Listen to this. Move the bait with your rod. Don't move it with your reel. So I'm going to make a cast out there. The worm's going to sink down to the bottom. I watch my line. It goes down the bottom. It stops. I reel the bait. I reel the line up. The bait's not moving. I'm reeling. All I'm doing is gathering my line up. Bait has not moved. I then lift my rod tip and drag the worm on the bottom. The reason I want to drag it, I want to feel that bottom. Okay, I've moved the bait now 3 or 4 feet. I have not touched the reel. Then I use the reel to gather my slack up. Gather the slack up, and again, move the bait with your rod, not your reel. That is the tip, guys. If you fish a worm like that, you're going to catch a lot more fish, I promise you. Because you're going to know what's down there. You're going to feel the type of cover that's on the bottom. And again, pulling it, pausing it for a second, gathering up your slack, pulling it, pausing it, gathering up your slack. That is the proper way of fishing a plastic worm. Don't just sit there and reel your line in and do all that. Now, what size line do I like to fish with a plastic worm? All types of size line. If I'm fishing in real deep, clear water, I'm going to fish 10 to 12 pound line, fluorocarbon preferably. If I'm fishing like here at Lake Okeechobee, where I'm fishing in shallow grass with a lot of cover, I'm going to fish 14 to say 20 pound test fluorocarbon. I prefer the P line, 100% fluorocarbon, works great. So pick the right size line for the type of cover and the depth that you're fishing in. What size weight? I like to fish a weight that's going to allow that bait to get down to the bottom. This is a 3/8 ounce tungsten weight here. I'm going to fish that size weight most of the time in 6 foot down to about 15 foot or so. If I get down past 15 foot, I might even go up a little bit, maybe to a 1/2 ounce size. That gets that bait down there, keeps it on the bottom. Because what you have to remember is the deeper the water is, the more resistance you're going to have on your line. So you need a little bit heavier weight to keep that bait crawling along the bottom. In real shallow water, say 2 to 3 foot, 4 foot, especially in the springtime, I'm going to throw a lighter weight. I'm going to throw a little 1/8 ounce weight. I can kind of glide the bait through the grass a little bit, get it down on the bottom, glide it over things. So fish a smaller weight. A worm is a year-round thing, but I really prefer a worm when those conditions get tough. High pressure days, cold front days, the days those fish kind of aren't biting everything else, pick up a worm and you'll catch a lot of fish. So stay tuned, we've got more tips coming up. And before you leave, again, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.